All right, we are live now. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to meet Tina. Just a second here. I got a little ding ding here, so I need to turn off the disturb signs on. Thank you very much. So anyway, guys, welcome to meet Tina, and everybody just say hello if you come in here. Do not hesitate to say hello. Let me see. Let me see. We have trouble streaming. Uh, okay, sorry about that. So today I'm excited to have my dear friends coming back again. Pair are mediums. Yes, pair medium. Some people may want to ask, what is pair medium? So I'm going to first welcome Julie, Parker, and Theon. Philip, Theon, how do you pronounce your last name?
Paulino Filippelli. It's a hard name.
Oh my God, it's such a long last name. I thought Thai last name is long already. I think you just beat that. So, and what kind of last name is that? Let me ask you.
Paulino. I'm part Filipino, and I'm half Filipino, half Italian, but I married an Italian, so it's
Nice.
Paulino hyphen Filippelli.
Nice. So this is kind of weird that it's actually it's live on the YouTube, live on certain channel. I don't know why it wasn't connecting to some of the. Let me try to see if I can connect. For those who are here, please go ahead and say hi. We're going to start in a minute. Got a little bit of technical here. I guess it's raining here. And we have about 7-8 channels that we tune in. Some of the channel, it just said that having a trouble streaming, which is kind of weird. But all right, we're just gonna not mess with that. Whatever meant to happen. We'll meet Tina on YouTube is on, so that's good. So anyway, guys, come on in and please welcome the two beautiful, lovely mediums, Julie, Parker, and Theon. Paulino Felipe, right? I hope I didn't. Oh my
It's
God!
like Mississippi.
I'm just gonna call you Theon. That's it. I'm not gonna.
Yes, everybody does.
Yes.
Everybody
So,
does.
while we're waiting for people to roll in, welcome everyone. Just say hello and just type in where you're tuning in from. Love to hear that. Hello, Anna. How are you doing, Anna? Where are you listening from? Just would like to know where you're from. All right. So anyway, Julie, welcome back today, and Theon also welcome back today. Both of you are going to be sharing about how do you know if you come across false spirit guides, or even when you channel or when you tap into the spirit world. How do you know if they're not the right positive energy that's come to you? Right. That's what you're going to be sharing.
Right.
So love to hear about that. We have people start tuning in, but yeah, definitely. We're gonna be sharing. All right. So Georgia, that's why you're tuning on. Well, thank you, Anna. Oh, it's is it cold over there in East Coast where you guys at in Florida?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's maybe about 60 degrees, which is, completely
That's
fine
cold.
for the rest of the world.
Yeah. We have a lot of rain here, a lot of storm, and it's quite cold right now, and it's raining. So I thought you guys are luckier over there. So anyway, well, let's talk about spirit. How about that? Okay.
Right.
So yeah, and one of you can start. How do you find out, Julie or Theon? You guys can chime in. I'm just gonna have you guys to kind of take turn on your own. How about that?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I can start a little bit. So I'm a poster child for having had dealt with what I call a false light guide. Okay. So we've talked about this on your show before, that not everything on the other side is all rainbows and butterflies and light. Okay. So there's both equally light and dark. And that's the way the universe works. It's the way the world works. We have light and we have dark. There's a balance. So as a person, and you don't necessarily have to be like a medium or someone who's trying to develop your mediumship skills, but people who are opening up, especially for the first time, to interdimensional awareness, awareness of spirits, awareness of spirit guides, awareness of who knows what some of these energies are that we encounter on the other side. Because, we only get just a little snippet of what's really there that we can barely see through the veil. Well,
Right.
as I started to open up, really started to open up when I turned 50, and I am 57 now. So
Oh, wow. Mhm.
yeah, this has been going on for about 7 years in terms of my development.
Mhm.
I've been psychic. I've had experiences my whole life, but in terms of just being activated, I was activated at 50, basically.
Wow.
So there were a lot of lessons that I had to learn, and it would have been nice if someone had warned me ahead of time, before I ended up kind of getting caught into a spider web that has taken me a long time to unwind.
What?
And
How
I'm
did that?
still,
Let me ask you real quick. Sorry for interrupting. Like, how did that affect you negatively? What you didn't know and what you had to go through?
yeah, sure. It certainly
Mhm.
did affected me negatively. So it affected my emotional state. It affected my view of myself. It affected um, so many things, my motivation. So yeah, and that's what they do. That's what they want to do. So if you're shining your light bright
Yeah.
and you are opening up and you are elevating your consciousness and you are healing, all this work that we do, spiritual work, there are beings, there are entities, one who will feed off of that light and steal your energy because they don't have that light. And then two, there are those who want to knock you off your path. They don't want you to elevate. They don't
Mhm.
want you to ascend. They don't want you to raise your consciousness. They want to keep your vibration low. So in battling some of these things that I've experienced in battling with them, and Theon can attest to this, that it has affected my vibration. It has, like, I've had to work so hard, and it has put me in these low states or low vibrational states, and then I have to work very hard to bring it back up.
Wow.
And yeah,
Mhm.
so I have learned so much. All of this started about 2 years ago with the False Light Guide, and
Wow. Mhm.
I have learned so much, and I know that I needed to go through this experience because that's the only way I'm going to be able to help other people to hopefully, they may see the signs if that happens to them. I mean, it may or may not happen, but if it happens to them, they can see the signs of it and they can stop it in its tracks, because you do have
Mhm.
the power to do that if you know what's going on. And also, just to bring awareness and to help people who may have gotten a little too embroiled and they're having a tough time getting out of it. So I know that's
Mhm.
part of my mission, part of my path, part of why I'm here. So I had to have this experience.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, how about you, Theon? I mean, have you run into similar experiences Julie have in terms of
Uh,
running into these bad spirits and even who you thought they were your guides or your angels?
yeah, for me, no. Although being, I went through it with her in that sense, but and it did open up a lot for me because of that, and to really be discerning, with the guides that I have, and in my relationship with my guides.
Mm.
And any guide will tell you they're not your guru. They're your team. So you lean on them for for certain things, but they're not necessarily your guru, your savior. So
I
in
think
that
I think Theon
sense,
was a little bit.
it's really about being so that. Oh, did you lose me?
I think you
Um,
froze a little bit with the image. Yeah,
oh,
it comes and goes. Julie, did you see that? Did you see Dion's kind of froze a little bit
did
while
I?
she was talking,
Oh
right? Mhm.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
I don't even know where I
uh,
was. No.
yeah.
Oh,
Never mind. Never mind.
I'm,
Yeah, you
okay.
froze a little bit, and that's why you were talking about the guide, and you haven't had problem with as much as Judy did. Um, and
Yes.
but anyway, but I saw your image froze as you were talking in certain moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and well, so as I was saying, I'm not necessarily haven't had that personal experience as Julie, but again, being close with her, I've seen it, and I've even interactions, some of those negative, and and my experience in viewing it in that way, it really made me take a look at my relationship with my own guides and how I
Mm.
view their responsibility within my life. And really what it is, it's about empowering yourself and to understand your strength and your power, and that your guides are not your guru, your savior, or anything like that. They're your team.
Mhm.
And and to see it that way, and to know that you are just as powerful as your spirit team, being an eternal being. So
Right.
once you start getting that, creating, or not creating, but really feeling into your own power, it gets easier. But I would rather do a little bit, because she has firsthand experience, and I feel like be more of an expert as to exactly the subtle details of,
We get a
right,
little, we get Julie. You can hear that, right? Because she
yeah.
get cut off too. Dion, you get,
again.
yeah, you get cut off. As you were speaking. Now I'm going to ask the listener, ask the audience. How's that Theon sound? Is it cut off for you guys, or just me? Me, Julie. Go ahead and type in and help us out. If you can hear Theon clearly. But in the meantime, while we're getting that, because I get that the whole time. Julie, did you
I'm
get
going to
that the
try
whole
this.
time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she was lagging and pausing, but I could tell what she was saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was wondering if the audience can hear her. She was
Well,
like,
that's it. That's Julie. I have to say, Julie and I are very telepathic together, so that's kind of cheating.
ah! Well,
So,
when two-person are so close, we get that way. Especially
yeah,
we're on this path. Because I do get the same thing with my business partner as well. She
yeah.
lives in Thailand. She's my partner in our Thai community, and we always pick up each other's thought. Quite. I mean, pretty much on a daily basis without speaking. We can just pick it up. So I totally get that. So anyway, let's get back on. I'm going to ask the audience. Any one of you have experienced any bad spirits or spirit guides or highest who you thought they were your angels and your highest self, but then at some moments you weren't sure who you were connecting with, or some moment you felt like they're not as light or they're not as positive as you thought they were. Anyone experience that? Go ahead and type number one. I love to hear about that. I I haven't run that. I haven't run into that myself, but I mean, I was intrigued by what Julie have run into, because you seem to be. I think that's everybody's different, and everybody's experience differently depends on their life path, what they have to go through, and also you being a medium and a teacher, this is probably gonna be something for you to be sharing with your students. You probably attract some student that going through that experience, and you got to have that actual experience to be able to guide other people. So let's hear more about that, Julie, about your bad experience, and what would be a technique or a ways for the audience, to use, if they'll come across something like what you have.
Right. Yeah, no, and I will just say, Theon being my best friend and we're co-host on Paranormal Mediums show, she has been through a lot with me, because she has heard and has counseled me and helped me through a lot of things over the past couple of years, as has Deborah Lynn Katz. And
Really?
Deborah Lynn Katz,
Absolutely.
she did a reading trying to get to the bottom of some of this, and she experienced, and she had some experiences with this being, this entity, for like 3 days
Really?
afterwards.
Let
Yeah.
me hear about that. Okay, for those who are listening, Deborah Lynn's cat, she's a psychic medium instructor. She's written many books. You Are Psychic, that's one of the books she's wrote. She was also one of my teacher, and so I just wanted to kind of spread the words and give her a respect and gratitude, because she's really a great teacher. Um, so yeah, with that said, let's get back into what you share with Deborah. She tuned in, right? She looked into it.
Yeah, she looked into it, and she was able to help me see things that I was not able to see on my own. And she actually had experiences and was bothered by, because it wasn't just one entity, there were other entities too. She was bothered by them for about 3 days, but it was not too intense for her, but it just gave her enough to see, wow, this is really real. And Julie is not making this up. And
You're not crazy.
Yeah, she is
You're
not
not
crazy. Yeah, now I know what she's talking about, which was very validating and helpful for me. So anybody who's going through something like that, to have someone, and Deborah she is strong enough, and she's been doing this long enough that it's not a big deal for her to have these strange experiences for 3 days. So it's like research for her.
Can you share what strange experiences she ran into? Maybe like
Well,
one of them. Mhm.
Well, during the reading, she experienced, she was almost channeling this entity, and he was being very, very narcissistic.
Oh.
So there was like, she could get the narcissism and the ego with him. And he was saying things like he had sent my other spirit guides away, because if they can't play with the big dogs, they need to get off the porch, kind of thing. He was talking about how he was talking about things like merging energy.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and that, I'm a channel and a physical channel, and that merging energy was a thing that can happen, like with spirit and with humans, as like a channel, but it can also, you can learn so much and gain so many more abilities by doing that. And
but can they take over your body, right?
Well, that not completely take over your body, but can affect your body. Yeah. And after that, there were also, she could see all these entities in my crown that I had no control over, my crown chakra. And these, I call them the minions, and they were shapeshifters, and I have seen them, and they can take different forms, and they just create chaos in your head. So like hearing the voices, having the visions, it's just like, and the voices and the visions are inappropriate. So they may be of a sexual nature.
Oh,
and
wow.
so they love to cross that line of a sexual nature. And that's what they were doing with her. And so what she did was she called in the Great White Brotherhood. It's like some team of highly developed spirits.
Galactic center, yes.
Yeah. To remove them from her space, but to also remove them from my space. And what was really interesting is I didn't know she did that. After she did that, I had this download. I woke up and I had this download, and there were beings there, and they showed me a comb like you comb your hair with.
Yeah.
And it said great, what did it say? Not the Great White, it wasn't the Great White Brotherhood. It said the White Order. The Great White Order. And I said, oh, well, you know why? It's because we're living in 2023 now, and there's men and women. And it's just not a bunch of men.
Oh, I see. Oh my God, that's funny. So the spirit would say that to you. I would say the aliens, or could be anything. The ETs, right?
They're ET. I mean, okay. I wrote a whole list of things, of warning things. signs.
Yeah.
Some of this it could be any type of dark entity. The
Uh-huh.
one that has been bothering me is extraterrestrial, and it took me a long time to realize that it's actually extraterrestrial. Okay. So I'll just tell you, first thing I will say, when you start opening up and you become aware
Yeah.
of spirit guides, the first thing you should always do is ask them, are you of the light?
Mm.
Are you of the light? And don't just assume that God has sent you this spirit guide and that spirit guide is of the light, because anything can pose as a spirit guide.
Right.
And you can do what you can to get rid of them before you get too deep with them.
Mm-hmm,
So I had that experience.
now,
Maybe I should wait on that one.
yeah. So now you talk about extraterrestrials. I mean, what race are they? Because not all extraterrestrials are bad, right? I mean, not all of them. Some of them are
They're not.
right. Mm-hmm.
They're not all bad. There are some and I'm working. I have some of my guides are extraterrestrial. They're Pleiadians.
Yes,
But,
Pleiadians are great. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so there's Pleiadians, there's Arcturians, there's so many different races actually that we're not even aware of.
We don't really know. There's so many.
We don't know.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
so many, and that's what they're telling me is there are so many. It's
So
not
now,
just
now that we
many.
get on this subject about extraterrestrials, I have a lot of listeners who love this topic. So I'm going to ask both of you, like, what race have you come across with? I know we're going to talk about I'm going to sidetrack a little bit now because I know a lot of audience are into all this stuff, especially nowadays with all this UFO sighting that's been coming around a lot.
Yeah.
So I want to know what races that you have seen. What extraterrestrial you have seen that sort of weird looking and you never seen them before, or never existed in the human in the third dimension before, or some of them we don't even know of them before. Where they're from. I mean, both of you can answer that.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's funny is, I always felt a connection, in the stars, and for me, in the way I was brought up, I I used to love to imagine that if I sat up on the roof, that they would come and get me. Every kid's dream, right?
I thought it would happen.
Right? Of course not. Never. And so, it was always this fascination. And as I got older, I started connecting more, in a deeper way, to, the possibility of, extraterrestrials and their influence on just Earth and people.
Mhm.
And it's funny, it sort of started developing at the same time with Julie. Of course, we do basically everything together. And I had gone and spoken to Debbie Solaris, who's she's considered the timekeeper, right? Is that what they call it? The Akashic Records timekeeper, right?
She's the galactic historian.
Galactic historian.
What's her name again?
Debbie Solaris. She is, famous. She's always on all the ET shows and Gaia everywhere. Gaia.
I have seen her before. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So she's a timekeeper. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and she started, she gave me a reading, and it really opened up a lot for me and made a lot of sense about my origins. And I had just recently had this incredible experience where I couldn't really understand in my meditation, that I just instantly projected, because I do a lot of Akashic Records readings and for myself and for other people. Yeah. And I was shown something that I really couldn't understand or really quantify until she sort of put it together for me. And so what she had sort of, seen for me is that I am, and oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm forgetting the name. I'm a
Andromedan.
Andromeda. I always want to say Andromeda.
And Julie remembers for you. That's so funny.
I know. Isn't that funny? I don't even have to think anymore. No, I'm just kidding. No, but and it really sort of like made me understand even why I'm here now, and what my purpose is here, and not, that's not to say that we all don't have the the extraterrestrial DNA. That's a something that people are starting to talk about a lot more.
Yeah,
So I'm
now. Yeah, a lot more interest now, and a lot believers now in extraterrestrial now. They years ago, I remember people just brush it off, but now more and more, and that's why when Julie started talking about ET, I'm like, okay, let's touch on this subject, because there's a lot of people interested in that now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And even within like my meditations and things like that, I've seen and which I didn't know at the time, and I really like to keep myself as I want to say pleasantly ignorant about certain things, because I like to be surprised when they actually kind of come true, because I get a lot of communication in meditation. So I had, and it was interesting, and Julie and I still haven't really talked about this that much, but I had, she had this experience with a very similar looking being as myself, as one that I have as well. And they are definitely more of a, they don't necessarily have bodies. So this being sort of came to me, one of the most beautiful faces I've ever seen in my life. This like crystallized, sort of pale, almost so pale blue that it almost looked white, and these beautiful green eyes that were just sparkling, and they almost look like what is the word I want to say? They sort of look like what is that? The kaleidoscope, like a kaleidoscope, but all green. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And she sort of came to me. It was a really beautiful meditation. And then Julie had mentioned the same thing about a very similar, I don't know if it was exactly the same one, but no. And you described the being. Yeah. And what was yours?
What was it?
I've got several I can talk about that I've seen through portals, and but mine is similar with the white skin, but not the green eyes.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure they don't all have the same.
So the one,
I don't know that, and it may or may not be the same type of being. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did they tell you where they're from, what race they are?
Yeah, it's funny. I some things it's kind of a long story about how so she came to me giving me guidance, and then it kind of went away for like a month. I never saw her or anything like that again. And months later, I was in this very intense this is hard to explain because without saying too much, because it's a little personal, but I was in a deep meditation, and she came to me again, and she kept calling me Thea. And I said, "What is your name?" And she said, "It's Rhea." And so Rhea, and from what I understand, being part of my soul family, like sister. And so it was this whole very intense meditation, and actually just astral experience, meeting her, and for her to see me as her sister Thea, which my name is Theon, and they both mean God, which is interesting. And so I looked that up, and just it's interesting because Thea and Rhea, I believe, is in what was it, Greek mythology? It's been a while since Greek mythology. They were sisters of Gaia, or daughters of Gaia, and Yeah, just an interesting thing. Definitely look it up. But so I'm not exactly sure how to take that, because I don't know if my human brain can wrap myself around that yet. But very interesting and very just a wonderful and beautiful experience. So
Mm.
yes, not all extraterrestrials are
Yeah.
bad.
What about you, Julie? Do you know where you're from, or
Yeah,
which race came to
I'm
you?
yeah, I had the reading with Debbie too, but I've also, had the communications with my guides who are ETs, who tell me that I'm of their, I'm of their family, and they are my family, and they're Pleiadians. So my soul originated in Lyra, and then during the wars, the Draconian Wars or
Yeah.
whatever, my soul um, went, like so many others, to the Pleiades. So most of my lives have been in the Pleiades that are not on Earth, but I've also had a life on Orion where I was apparently, and this is from Debbie's reading, it's really fascinating, apparently doing work with investigating human trafficking. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, because
Yes.
there was a lot of Orion. This is where you find the reptilians and the grays, and these beings that tend to be malevolent, and
Yeah.
they went through a real dark period. But apparently, I don't know. I'm not a galactic historian, but anyway, some of the troubles I have now, I believe, stem from that. And the false light
Wow.
guide that I've been dealing with, I have come to understand, is most definitely extraterrestrial. And all along, I have thought he was a reptilian, but now I am putting the clues together, and I believe he is what is called, and I'm not positive. The guides are telling me I'm going to get a dream that's going to help clear some of this up for me. But what's called Telosian. It's called Telosian.
Theologian.
Yeah, and you can. Here's a great book. It's called A Gift from the Stars. It's the alien races. And so I couldn't remember that. I said, I think I've seen that in this book, and I looked it up and I found, I'm like, oh my God, that's the exact description. I've seen him in visions, and he would have.
What's the name of that book again, Julie?
It's called A Gift from the Stars, Alien Races, and it's by Elena Danon, and she is French, and she it's fascinating. It's got all these pictures. It's like fascinating to read that.
And her name, the author, is
Elena, Elena Danon, Danaan. So if you're into wanting to learn more about it, read her story. She's a multiple abductee. She's got a story, and she has done channeling with Pleiadians, and it's an interesting story about how she came across all these different races to put into this book.
oh wow, that's pretty cool.
It's a really interesting book.
Yeah, for the audience who are interested, I just typed the name of the book, and I believe I get the name of the author correctly, Elena Dana. But just look up what is the name that I just put again that Julie just shared?
It's called A Gift from the Stars.
A Gift from the Star. You can access, check out this book if you're interested, because this book lists different races, that you can actually find out, learn about it. I think that's interesting, fascinating to find a book like that.
Yeah,
it's channel.
And and I found that through Debbie Solaris, because I was going to take a webinar from her about doing these kinds of readings, and I ended up not doing it. But that was like the reading you were supposed to do before taking the course, and I'm like, well,
what's the course again? What is that course?
Oh, it's a Akashic Records, Galactic Akashic Records reading. So you can take the course and you can get certified, because she doesn't do these readings anymore. She's just training other people to do it. So you can take the course and
I didn't know she offered those classes, because besides the one that she's offering right now. Yeah.
Her website is just beautiful too. If you get a chance to go to her website, and she's got so much information about ETs and the races. And
what is the name of the website again? I can type and share it with the audience here.
Yes, DebbieSolaris.com. So it's Solaris is her last name.
Okay, Debbie. How you spell last name again?
SOLARIS.
Okay. So I've just typed down her name. So any of the audience would like to access her website, just type down the name Debbie Solaris. That should come
And
up.
I can tell you about it. I've had several UFO experiences. I've had, and when all of this first started, I mean, I've got things I can tell you. I have seen several different types of races. Sometimes I see them with my eyes closed behind my eyelids, that they will appear. And it was very interesting. The only other person, I said, that's how I know that ETs are communicating with me, because I see them with my eyes closed behind my eyelids, and I can open my eyes. If it's dark enough, I can see it projected out here in front of me. It's fascinating. She had that experience. She saw the ET faces behind her eyelids. And I'm like, that's how they communicate. That's the eyelid thing.
The eyelid. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have seen your typical gray. I have seen reptilian that literally, like Draco, that literally, it's like he has a Darth Vader hat on or something, just like very scary looking. I've seen a draconian, like in a visual, like a movie, and he looked like a demon. He had the legs, he had the wings, and he was kind of like greenish, and he's like on top of this building. He was a draconian, a type of reptilian. These are malevolent beings.
Are they the one underneath the earth?
Well, they come from Orion. So, I mean, there's a lot of them that they say are under the earth, but these also reptilians have spaceships, from what I understand. Yeah, and do abductions and like lots of horrible things. I have seen the Pleiadians. I have seen beings I do not know what they are. There was one I saw, because I had saw a whole swarm of UFOs one night. And
I did that too. I did before, yeah.
Yeah, and I was seeing my spirit guide lights, which were telling me, okay, something's going on. And that was like very early on with the UFO experiences.
Yeah.
And when I went home, I go to bed, I have communications during the night and the morning, when I'm during waking periods. And I asked them, I said, was that really UFOs? And it appeared behind my eyelids. They opened up like this window, and I saw this like yellow light around it. And it was like I was looking into space. And then they gave me a visual of this ET. I do not know what kind of ET he was. I've never seen him before, and haven't seen him since. But he had like this light brown skin, and he had this head that went up like tall, not like a cone, but it was kind of flat on top. And his eyes and his nose and his mouth were very minimal. They were very, it was just not much there. And then this beautiful voice came. I could hear this beautiful voice in my ear that said, "Be mindful, there are always watchers who deserve a kind glance, who deserve a kind glance." And that was just really struck me. I'm like, wow, because he's telling me there are watchers, they are watching, and they are helping keeping these dark ones at bay, but they're also very concerned about our development and what's happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of watchers for sure. That's from what I know.
Yeah. Now, the Pleiadians, if you want to know what they look like, they have like light that emanates from them. And they have this very, very long blonde, very light blonde hair, very fair skin, but it's like light coming from their skin. Right. And they have brilliant blue eyes. And that's how I've seen them, like right out here, not clairvoyantly in my mind's eye, but like right here, objectively. And then the Telosian, white hair, white skin, paper white skin, and brilliant blue eyes. But the one who has been my tormentor, I've only seen his face once. And it looked just like, when I looked it up, it looked just like the facial features of the Telosian. They have different facial features. But he usually will appear with no face, just blacked out face. They call them faceless.
I have seen without face too. Yeah, just
Oh, have you?
yeah, without faces.
Now, what did they look like with, the other features you could see?
Just no faces and a very light skin, and light hair color. That's
Isn't
from
that
what I
interesting?
yeah, that's what I get. But I'm sure there are so many different species out there. But I get the one with facelets, and but it's very I mean very actually very light energy, very beautiful energy. Kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I saw, there it was something really off about that, and so I just wonder. I'll tell you the most real interesting one I ever saw. I'm laying here relaxing. I had not even gone to sleep or anything. It was in the daytime, and it was like a portal opened up
Yeah.
behind my eyelids.
Hmm.
This portal opens up, and I'm looking through it, and I'm seeing into like another dimension. And
Right.
there is a woman there. She has paper white skin. She has this very large skull. She's bald, very large skull, but her face looks human. And she had like a headpiece on, this pretty
Mhm.
gold headpiece on. And she had her eyelids kind of down like this, so I couldn't see the color of her eyes. But it's like she knew I was looking at her, and she was being kind of shy and demure. She's moving because it's like I'm looking at this being through this portal. I have
Right.
no idea. I don't have no idea where she's from or who she is, but it's like I'm, getting this exposure to these different kinds of beings.
That's beautiful. So now we're talking about all this being, and we have those who are listening in right now. And I'm sure some of you probably have experienced this before, like, Julie and Theon, you and I have. Go ahead and type one if you have seen the ETs before, or you have experience that's similar to what Theon and Julie have. And if you know what they are, you can put some description to. We'd love to hear that. Those who are listening in, if you have those experience before, do not hesitate to share, because we love to hear from it. There's so many different species out there now.
Yeah.
So now let's get back into what you originally taught before we got into the ET stuff about the how can you tell, if the spirit or the energy you're connecting with are not of the light.
Right. They can be very tricky. Okay. And they can be very, very tricky. And so here it can start out and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having these communications, I'm having these visuals, I'm connecting with this spirit guide, and and you're excited about it because this has never happened for you before. And so it's like this incremental, like pulling you in, and you start to like have this trust and this love for this being. Right. And you feel safe with this being, but things then will start to change. And then you start to realize, wait a minute, I think I just got scammed. It's basically like getting scammed from the spirit world. So
we keep hearing that scam in the earth realm. Now it's like scam in the spirit realm. Right. Thank you, Kiki. She said she had seen in her dreams. Awesome.
Wow.
That's another way to see the aliens and the spirit guides too. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Kiki. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's go on.
I'll see them in dreams as well.
Yes, dream is a great place to actually remember what they look like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and write it down as soon as you dream it and you wake up. Write it down before you forget.
Exactly, you'll forget.
Okay. Right. So, do you want me to give you some warning signs?
Yeah, why not? Because some audience probably would love to know. Many who would like to know how you can tell if you run into some bad spirit or tricksters.
Yeah, tricksters, bad spirits, jinn. Could be jinn, could be ET.
Yeah, type two if you want to know. Then Julie's going to be sharing her secrets and how you can go about telling if they're scammer in the spirit world.
Right. And, it's funny is you can tell very easily, an earthbound spirit or a spirit that comes to you that is negative.
Yeah.
But such a sensitive situation as connecting with a spirit guide, that can be difficult because you're already sort of trying to let them in. So, yeah,
Right.
Yes.
very interesting.
And
Especially
you know
those who
what?
just started, those who just
Yeah.
started, they're eager to have the
Yes.
connection.
Yeah.
So when
Right.
you have some connection, you get so excited,
Right.
but because
And
you're so new, you don't know what you're connecting with. And that's
yeah,
really
and you're naive. You're so naive. And I was very naive. And I'll tell you too, I should give you this background because Theon was with me through this background too. Where it all started was when I really did make a mistake. I made a mistake and somehow let in something very, very dark. And
wow. Mhm.
I did that because I was being bothered by something dark. And a medium suggested to me that I do like a ritual and that I make an offering and lay down boundaries. Like, this is where you don't go. This is, thank you for protecting the land, because these were like some kind of elemental earth spirits is what it was. But don't cross this boundary. Well, I did that. It was a big mistake. Don't ever make an offering to anything if you do not know for sure 100% what it is or what you're doing. So I was totally naive, just took this advice, did it, and I opened up a big can of worms. And so I was having like the paranormal activity. I was having the scary stuff. I woke up one morning and I had burns written across my back, which I think I've shown you those.
Whoa, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I didn't even know they were there. My boyfriend at the time saw it and he said, "What the heck is that?" And so I took a pictures of it. It took probably 6 weeks for it to clear up. And off and on, I would feel like something was digging in there. And so I, got scared. And so I started opening up and calling. I'm like, where the hell are my spirit guides? How could this even happen? And I would see it. I would see like black tar energy in my house, like in the
Wow.
air or next to a wall.
Yeah.
So I knew this was some kind of demonic thing. And
Mhm.
so I'm like, where the hell are they? And I'm just calling out for protection, for a spirit guide,
Mhm.
for a guardian, somebody that can help me with this, right? Because there was no medium, there was nobody who could clear it.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to find a way to clear it myself. Well, that's when the false light guide came in. And he's showing me how and all of that problem that I was having like went away. And he's showing me how he is like these I'll see these visuals of these dark forces or whatever, and how he like stabs them or sends them away or stuff like that. And I started to feel like very protected and very safe. Turns out this guide was not who he said he was going to be. He was actually the same dark being in disguise as a spirit guide. So, I mean, this is how it gets so very, very tricky. And then once he sucks you in, you start to feel safe and you start to feel like relieved. And I have this being who is helping me with these very real physical things that are happening in my environment and to my body. There are things that might happen, like showers you with love. So I would like get these visuals of hearts coming down, little emojis, love emojis, flat words, visions of words, I love you, or songs, these things that just make you feel loved and special. And at the time, I wasn't thinking that this was wrong. I wasn't thinking that, I didn't see a red flag that this was like
Now,
not spiritual love.
let me ask you, during the time that you were experiencing this, false guide, I would like to find out about your emotional mental state during that time in your life.
During that time, I had just been through a huge transition. I had lost my job. I had to sell my farm. I lost a bunch of my animals. And I had to downsize. And so I had been through a big transition that was difficult.
Yes, difficulty that you
Yeah.
that would make sense to me because when you're experience all this spiritual, connection, but you're also going through trauma, emotional trauma in your life, that big
Yeah.
transition you're going through, you can be quite naive
Well,
to,
you
yes,
can be,
exactly, because
and
the
yeah.
frequency that you carry at the time. Yes.
Yeah. So there's the naivety, being naive, but then there's also the vulnerability. And,
Yes.
and I told you the last time that one of the things they'll do, and what my current guide, my real guides have shown me, is that they'll find your core wounds. They'll find where you're weak, and that's where they'll get in at. And for
Mhm.
me, it was love. For me, it was love and being unloved, feeling unloved, having lots of rotten relationships, having
Mm.
gone through 2 divorces,
Yeah.
domestic abuse. I mean,
So
all this.
you went through a lot of abuses, emotional, mental abuses. Right
Yeah.
around that time, that's when you experience this bad spirit guides, the scammer.
Well,
Hmm.
a lot of those abuses happened years before, but that's where the core wound started. So
But
my
you still
guides
carry
told
that,
me,
right?
they said it started in 1995. They said it's been festering and manifesting since 1995. And so and why at this particular time, when I'm in my early 50s, did this happen? I think it's just timing. I think it was just
Yeah.
time for this to happen. But it had
I
been,
guess it's a time that you decide to get into a spiritual practice and a connection,
yep.
and perhaps you haven't released all those old wounds.
And it
Seems
was
like,
time, because
yeah,
part of it, I believe, also is part of my own ascension process,
yes,
because I'm having to go through this darkness and experience the underworld, because this is like, for me, how I'm going to grow the most. And I can look back and see how much I have grown and
yes.
how much stronger and wiser that I am,
Absolutely. Well, I said you gotta have an actual experience, personal experience, in order to be able to help others. You know.
I think I can be more of a help. And one thing, I've experienced so many things. There are some things that psychics may not believe. You go to a psychic for help, and you might have such an outlandish story, they may not even believe you. And I really do believe that I have had that
I
experience where
don't get
people
how
are
can,
not
but I
believing
get
you.
you. I get you. I was just
Yeah.
talking about some people who seem to come across like schizophrenic, like crazy to other people,
Right.
but they're
But
not.
you're hearing voices, you're having
They
hallucinations.
actually experiencing that.
How come all this is happening to you and no one else? And so then there's that doubt and that skepticism, and that does not help the person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And for you to have gone through that, you come across someone who's have the same experience, similar experience, you would, yeah, I get that. Yeah. Totally.
Totally. I don't think there's probably anything that anybody could tell me. I may not have experienced everything,
Mhm.
but I'm definitely going to be one who's not going to discount much of what anything anybody says, because I now know that it's all possible.
Oh,
And I know that ETs are real, and I know that the dark forces are real, and I know that they can
oh, they
prey.
already, I think anything that our mind can think of, anything exists.
Oh, yeah.
Anything exists. Anything that you can think of.
Anything that our minds, every single human in this earth can think of, exists.
Yeah.
Cartoon realities.
Yeah,
Or
I was just going to say there's a timeline for that. There's always a timeline, right? Yeah. So, and that's why, and that's why it doesn't pay to be shut down, because that really helps to, one, create fear and ignorance in people. And if you can't open up, and that's why it's so funny to hear, like, when mediums can't believe you, well, you're supposed to be open to spirit. So and to be open to anything. And I know that I myself, and I'm sure both of you, as developing your abilities, have seen, I've been shown things that really kind of challenged my belief system many times, but and that's okay. because I embraced it as it came to me, and you don't have to be so completely open that you'll believe anything, but knowing that, trusting your ability to connect with spirit, and to connect with, I would say, the one consciousness, that you can be discerning, and that's what I always get concerned with new people developing. It's, you really have to develop that strong connection, in balance with yourself. If you go into a practice like this, or mediumship in general, it can be difficult if you really don't understand, one, how to protect yourself. Julie and I have come across a lot of mediums, and a lot of accomplished mediums that don't actually see protection as a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's scary. And
Yeah.
you can imagine what's going on in their space right now.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even believe in dark forces. Some don't even believe that that's real, or earthbound spirit. So your own cognitive biases can get in the way of your
Right.
perception. I'm here to tell you it's real. I'm here to tell you it's real.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny is, I had experienced it with Julie. I've read her many times and saw these things, and only when I went to her house was I able to actually experience it. And, on a level that I didn't even think that was possible. I had, she had told me time and time again about, the behavior of this, I want to call him a trickster, but he's so much worse than that. Yeah, and it is her tormentor. And, the first night I was there, I was going to bed, and I got a flash image of something very similar, very sexual in nature. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it was just like, and I go, not tonight. I'm not doing this with you. And so, but it was just like, but to say, at least Julie has somebody to say, okay, that is what's happening.
That's funny.
Yeah. It was just, interesting.
Yeah. Here, I can tell you a couple of, I have a whole list of them. I can tell you, and I know we're running out of time, but I can tell you like some of the major
sure, let's throw out a couple major
okay.
signs.
So oh my gosh. Okay. So here's one. They ask you to make a wish. Don't make a wish. Because then you make a wish, they'll make something happen for you. This is Jen. Okay. And I kept having them asking me, what do you want? What is your wish? What is your wish? I'm like, I want world peace. I'm saying like world peace and stuff like that. Don't even engage with that kind of stuff, because then you are bound to them. And so whatever happened, my wish was to be protected from this demon, to have this demon removed. Right. And Michael, Archangel, was just not cutting it. It just wasn't happening. And so this being came in, and now I'm beholden to him, and he thinks I owe him. And he, for the longest time, kept showing me money. I owed him money. I'm like, how in the hell am I going to pay you money? I mean, what the heck are you talking about? And then, I realized what he meant. What he meant was sexual. It was sexual energy that he wanted. It was DNA, because he's an ET. He was scalping, taking my DNA for whatever hybrid stuff, whatever they do. I don't even know. But don't make offerings ever. Do not make a wish. Do not ask for any help or advice from anything you do not know for sure is of the light or angelic of the light. And here's one way. I'll tell you what happened. I was having problem. We had practice with our group with class, because I'm still taking classes, when all of this started. And Deborah had the class like in the visualization, go to the Philippines and pick up a psychic surgeon. And then they were going to come back and do a healing on me. And most of the class, I think, were afraid to touch it because they didn't do anything or say anything. She did. Some people saw it. Her guide pulled him out or whatever. But on the excursion, I picked up a psychic surgeon. I'm like, oh my God. And I had this very clear visual. It was like right here. It was moving. It was like with the needle. It was like, gorgeous. And I said, oh my God. And I gave her a name. It's like, don't even name your spirit guides. Don't even ask for a name, because that's another thing of the ego. You don't even need to know any names unless, like with Theon, they just give you a name. But they don't. Names for me has been a problem, because then it gets into ego. Then it gets into something that's not even real. So anyway, I did that. And I started like getting red flags with this guide. And I sat in my chair right there and I went to a meditation. I said, are you of the light? And as soon as I said it, it felt like somebody stuck a knife in my back. It was so painful, and just twisted it. I said, oh my God. I was in class, what I felt was a safe place, in a meditation, picked up this psychic surgeon in this visual, and here it is again, the same damn being disguising itself as this psychic surgeon. So you have to just be so careful, when you get that open to things like this, that you know who and what you're dealing with. So anytime you have guides that are building your ego, that's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag. If the ego, if you feel any sort of fluffed up ego,
or they're making you feel special, making you feel unique. And again, that could be one of your weak spots. All right. It's like, for me, it was feeling unloved, feeling never good, not being good enough. How many people have that as a weak spot? And then they start building that up in an unnatural way. No.
And that's why
your guides are not there to compliment you. They're not there to.
I think that's why it's so important for everyone to work on themselves too, and not leaving a space for that weakness, And,
exactly.
Right. And when they can begin to connect to their the spirit guides, they can have that matching frequency. So
and let me tell you, and even then, when you start going, this is something else that I still struggle with. When you are doing your spiritual work and you're going into certain states of consciousness and you're getting into these high vibration states, these like beings like this want to feed off of it. If you're going into a high state, like high vibe state in your meditation or whatever it is you're doing, and it starts turning into something sexual, like sexual energy, you're feeling second chakra that can be confused with Kundalini. It can be confused with Kundalini rising. Okay. And that's where I was like, oh my God, I think I'm having a Kundalini experience. What the hell is this? I didn't know what it was. What it was, spiritual energy in this entity is again merging energy, and it's going into these lower chakras, and it's like being drugged. You feel like you are drugged. And my guides have told me and shown me that he's actually affecting my neurotransmitters, like the same neurotransmitter like you're drinking alcohol or any kind of depressant. Right. It's affecting that. And I would feel drugged. I'm like, it's ecstasy. And, and there was one that hit me, and, people want to have these spiritual ecstatic experiences. Beware.
Yeah. Especially if they're taking any kind of substance too. Yeah.
So I had one. Okay. I was just taking a nap. All I was doing was taking a nap. And I woke up from this lovely nap, and it opened up behind my eyelids. Here is this being, and he looked like Merlin, like the Merlin, because this spirit guy, he would dress up, he would show up like Merlin. There was one that showed up like a witch that I thought was so cute, but was not. There was one that showed up like Thor, and it was like this high fantasy stuff. And I'm having these little movies and visions. Here is Merlin. He does something with his hands, like some kind of rite, some kind of blessing rite, and my entire body went into like instant ecstasy. It was insane. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh my God, this was like amazing. I think, like I've had some kind of oneness experience. I've had some kind of transcendent experience. It was ecstasy.
Yeah.
And there is something sexual about it.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
There's something sexual. I did not understand it. I did not understand it.
That comes through the dreams too, right?
It can come through the dreams, yes.
It comes
And
through
I've
the
had it
dreams.
come through the dreams.
Yeah.
And I've learned to like kind of wake up in the dream and fight that off. I still have them trying to do this when I'm just doing healing work and meditation work, and I'm very sensitized to it now. As soon as it starts, I've got like new tools that I can like push them out.
Push them out.
Yeah, push them off and close
This
it
is
down.
interesting because I remember I have similar experiences in my dream when I was a lot younger, quite often, not knowing what it was. But I remember feeling it was an energy of invaders, not really of the light for sure, but I was so young back then
Yeah,
to
yeah.
understand. But now I'm looking back as I'm listening to you, I'm like, yep, I remember that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's interesting that they would come into a dream.
They will.
Wow.
And we talked about this before too, and I have found this to be very helpful. It's just before I go to bed, I just dab frankincense and I ask, for protection from the angels. And
Yeah.
I call on the archangel of dream time to protect my dreams.
There you go. Archangel of dream times, guys. You can, use that kind of protection from Julie. You can do that, you know. So I have this lady, she's Linda McQuaid. She just come up and are you still there, Linda? And she asked, is there anything spirit would like me to know? Or she's from Canada. Do you feel anything for me? Anything. I guess spirit. I don't know. Do you ladies want to do that, or because sometimes depends on your mood too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Theon, if you want to tune in, I can draw a card.
Yeah,
Sure.
Linda, are you still there? I want to make sure if you're there, that's mean it's meant for you to receive this reading. If you're not there, then we're just gonna skip that. But if you're there, go ahead and just type in that you're here, and then we'll just do something quick for you. Theon and Julie maybe tune it in. Otherwise, if we don't hear from you, then I would assume that you're gone. So there's no use of doing a quick reading for you. But while we're waiting for Linda McQuaid from Canada, respond back. I wanted to ask both of you that if this happened, should they come to someone like you guys, just to help them out with what's going on with them? I mean, I don't think everyone would run into the experience like
Mm-mm.
Julie have, like what we said. It depends. Like Theon didn't experience that, right? You didn't
No.
experience.
I mean, I've come across dark spirits, but not
Yeah.
like spirit guides.
Yeah, likewise. I've been on this journey since I was young too, but I never come across. I mean, I experienced some. I experienced the energy that came. Luckily, I never experienced, but I realize that our path is different. We are a different path. But I know there's people who experience, a few people experience like Julie have
Yeah.
on my path. And definitely are, like what I'm saying, like earlier, many people will not believe you.
They won't believe it.
But
Yeah.
I met those people since before all this experience happened to them. So I know these are all real.
Mhm.
And many people who didn't know them, at least 3 people who didn't know them would think they're crazy, but I know they're not,
Right.
because of their inner world experience, and very much similar to what Julie have.
Mhm.
So for them to experience themselves, and most people never have, that makes it easy for them not believable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for someone who have experience that you do, you would be a great person for those who have experienced, this bad spirit to come for advice. I think that would
Yeah.
be. I think that
Yeah.
might be your path. You
Yeah.
know, to be a spiritual
Definitely.
advice. Yes, yes, because of your
Yeah.
experience. Mhm.
Yeah, and I want to say, and Julie did have the support of people that believed her. And she did have, obviously she is a highly intelligent woman, but it is also the support around you,
Yeah.
and
It's a big difference.
yeah, it definitely does. And so it, like, going to somebody like Julie that has experienced it, that is not going to
Call you crazy?
call you, yeah, exactly,
Mm.
and push you out the door.
Mm.
That's important, because you want to be validated, and you want
Yeah,
to know that that experience is not just you.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a validation that some of the people who's on this journey need.
Mhm.
Especially right now, a lot of people are really opening up. The veil's opening. And some
Yeah.
people are very sensitive and maybe they're not ready and they begin to experience what Julie used to experience. So
Yeah.
definitely because of her personal experience, those who are listening, if you have this same experience, similar experience, or if you know of anyone who have this, a spirit experience, you can actually send it Julie. Julie can actually help out quite a bit.
Yeah. I
I,
can I can certainly help out. And I do these consultations. I offer to do consultations and clearings, because one of the things in this process I have been given is 2 unique tools, the energetic tools for clearing
mm,
energy. And this is pretty new. And my guys have told me this is my path. My path involves conflict and it involves the dark side. There's a lot of people out there who don't know what's happening, or they need help, or there are people who don't believe them, or they're afraid people are going to think that they have a psychotic disorder,
yeah.
or it's in their imagination. So I'm here to do readings and consultations on that, but also clearings, and then help people with what they need to do. One
Mhm.
piece of advice I have for people who are, like Theon touched on this too, who are starting out on this track. She said it's important to be in your own power. Yes. It's also important to have that connection with your higher power, that you do not place any spirit guide or angel or archangel like in your mind. I didn't know I was doing this, but at the time I did not know how to conceive of God. I just didn't know how to conceive of God. But I had such a direct experience with guides, with spirit, with angels, that I elevated them as being more like divine than me, right? You don't do that. They may be more highly evolved and they know, but they're no more divine than you.
Mm.
The connection with your higher power, with source, with God. This is what I am learning is like the most important thing. And in psychic development, people can just skip right over God, skip right
Mhm.
over source. And, but I think that's a mistake. That was my mistake.
Mm.
That was my mistake, because it kind of left me vulnerable and naive to the wolves.
Yeah,
But
and that's what always struck me as somebody coming from religion. There's a lot of stigma
yeah,
around religion, and and it's sometimes it's hard to say to somebody that you actually have a connection with God. And what does God represent for you? We're not talking about the God that sits on top of a cloud and does this. We're talking about the oneness,
Right.
the one consciousness, and
Mhm.
we call it God. You could call it anything else that you want, but it is that I call it, even when I'm teaching, I'll say, it's the oneness, it's home. That is, that's part of us. I'm God, you're God, everybody is God, but
Right.
it's that that source that holds us all together.
Yes.
And and that's what's important to understand, that even your guides, you're pulling from the oneness. We're all within the oneness, and because we live these human with these human lives, that is why we need guides to kind of remind us of our experience, and and not to let them lead you on through this life, because that's not their life, it's your life. And
Exactly.
yeah, and so when you start, that's when I start classes, I'm always like, okay, the most important thing to always remember is that you're the one that has the power, you're the one that has that light, and to not and to tap into that as often as you can, because it is hard. You forget, you forget as being as human. There's a joke I say in my family. I go in meditation for 4 hours, and it's the most mind-blowing, just amazing experience. And I come out and somebody left their towel on the floor. I'm like, who left their towel? Like, because that's the thing. That's life. I know, and I'm okay with the balance that I have. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not floating on a cloud. But I know that I'm also eternal. So it is about balancing the perfect and imperfect you, and being okay with that. That's where you get your power. It's not always just this blast of light. You have to be okay with those things, with who you are, and be confident. And it's easy for me to just say that, but I will tell you, I was just as lost. I was just as traumatized as the next person. I had to come to this too. And everybody, that is looking to go on this path will eventually do that too. So, it's nothing to fear. It's more about knowing your power, and not having, that expectation that you're going to be saved, because you could
Right.
save yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
be yourself. Trust
Very
yourself.
good.
Know that you are divine gods. And God,
Yes.
that's beautiful. Now, two more things I want to ask the ladies. I know in April you guys have a retreat coming up. Another question is, for those of you who are interested in connecting with Julie and Theon, because they both do reading together, and you know, if you're curious, how would they connect with you? I know I got your information and the description already, but I just want you guys just share with them. I know you got a
Yes.
retreat coming up, in April. I saw that. Interesting. So maybe
Yes.
you share that with the audience. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's called the Ultimate Paranormal Experience Retreat. And it's going to be with myself, Deborah Lynn Katz from International School for Clairvoyance, of Clairvoyance, and, and Josh. I always say 4. I've said it
Yeah.
all the entire time I was there, as well. And Josh Lewis from Hope Paranormal. It's going to be crazy paranormal fun. We're going to incorporate intuitive development, mediumship. We're going to be doing a seance, as well as I'm going to take people out on intuitive development tours throughout the city. So we're going to connect with all of the different spirits. So this is in St. Augustine, which in Florida, which is the oldest city in the U.S. So it is beyond haunted. You can't take a step in St. Augustine. This is the saying there. You can't take a step without stepping on 10 dead bodies, which is a little crazy. But the energy is really interesting. It's a mix. It reminds me of New Orleans, because it's a mix of excitement as well as trauma. So
Mm.
it's like, it's a very up and down, but Julie and I have been there on investigations, and I go up there a lot because I live in Florida, and it's just an amazing place. And
Mm.
we're going to be doing paranormal investigations at the lighthouse. It's just going to be so much fun. So you
And
get
what
kind of
are
get
the
it.
dates? Yeah, what are the dates
Oh,
for that?
yeah. Yes, it's April 25th through the April 26th through the 28th. And we have all of the booking information on evolveme.com. That's evolve without the E at the end. So evolveme.com. And just look up UPE retreats. And you'll see it, and it's just amazing. And I'll give you the link there, Tina, too. And
Okay, sounds good.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I think it's like 10% until March 1st. We are giving 10% off of the registration, and we
Mhm.
have like discount hotel codes and everything. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So
Yeah.
Theon and Julie also on Facebook too. If you guys on Facebook, some of you on
Well,
Facebook.
we have a show every Wednesday. It's
Mhm.
we're a pair and normal mediums,
Right? Yes.
and so we love to talk about everything paranormal, as well as do readings and things like that. Right, Jewel?
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
and we're both on evolveme.com. And I also have my website, juliestarparker.com, with star with two R's, STARR. And I also have,
Sorry
and I'm
about
on
that.
Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm just getting going with my YouTube channel. So
Nice.
just starting some things on that.
Well, next
So,
time you can
Absolutely.
actually add the link to your YouTube on the live talk here. Do you know that? Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
You should have done that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm all over, I'm the founder of Evolve Me. So anywhere you see Evolve Me on all social media, I'm part of that. So you can find my services there. But you know what I would love, Julie, is to have Tina on our show.
I think so
She's
too.
got,
I love
yeah,
it. Sure, I'll be on your
yes.
show. What do you want me to talk about?
Oh, you just talk and anything paranormal, and it would just be amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
of
love to.
course, of course. I'll be on your show, no problem at all. That'll be
Love
fun.
that.
Yes, yes,
Yay.
absolutely. So, I didn't get, I don't know if anything's going on with the channel because earlier I can see people posting, but now I don't see anyone typing. So it's kind of weird because we have a little bit of a technical issue today for some reason. Can some of you guys, some of your audience type number one if you can hear me? Because I know there were about 4 channels that got disconnected. I think mostly they're on Facebook. So there's something's going on with Facebook today.
Yeah.
Could be their connection. But on YouTube, there's no problem. So we have people that can watch live from YouTube, but not on the Facebook. So I don't know what's happening. It's
Linda
could
says
be a
number
spirit, could
one.
be a spirit knowing that Julie's coming on,
I know.
and they don't want people to connect with her because they wanted to scam on people, right?
They,
Yeah.
I mean,
Linda, you can hear us. Okay, Linda, you still want to have quick reading before I don't know if Julie and Theon still up to that because I know we up to like an hour and a half now almost.
yeah, I can draw a card, and I
Let's
don't know.
do that, Linda. We're gonna give you a reading or what's going on with your spirits. I mean, if we picked up anything for you. Okay.
Sure.
Is that good for you, Linda? Yes. Thank you, Kiki, for typing 1. So we're going to do that for Linda today. She's a lucky listener today. How about that? The rest of you, don't worry. Come back again because Julie and Theon's going to be coming back here, every month.
Absolutely.
We may have to skip next month. Next month's guy, I haven't told you guys that I'm traveling to Thailand for 1 month in March.
Are you really? Oh,
Yes,
wow.
yes. We're gonna have for those of you who are in Thailand who are Thai, we're gonna have a seminar. We're gonna have
nice.
we're gonna have a seminar. We're gonna have a talk at the end of March. So there's gonna be different speakers, Thai speaker, of course, but down the road we may bring language speakers, guest speakers over there. So we're kind
You
of
should
growing.
invite us.
Yes, we're growing. So yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. Well,
Love
maybe
that.
we'll have a party over there in Thailand by the beach.
I know.
We
Yeah.
call them water spirits.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in the Philippines, so I understand that.
Oh
that
yes,
energy.
that's right. And it's funny because you were born in the Philippines. You probably got when Julie picked up the Filipino psychic, the spirit surgeon, right? Because
Yeah.
Debbie went to that country before years back.
Yes.
And she had learned, I think, the psychic surgery
Yeah.
with a healer over there.
That's right. Yeah, she
Yes.
did.
Yeah, absolutely. Deborah and I talk about that because, she also has a son that is half Filipino and half European. So
Ah, yeah.
it's a great
Great
connection.
mix.
But
Mhm.
yeah, and it's funny is I do have a guide that came through, but it's more of an ancestor. And they came to me, and I asked what their name was, and yes, I do get their names pretty. They like to tell me their names. I guess maybe that's just how I connect. But they said Bay Balin. And I was like, oh, okay. And for the longest time, for over like a year or so, I've been talking to my ancestor. And then I was like, I really love shamanism, and I want to connect more with my roots within shamanism. And so I read that Filipino shamans are usually women, and they're called Bebalans. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, this is why I love to be in ignorance all the time, because I always get validation through it. But so it's really cool. So she definitely comes to me when, especially during healings and things like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow. Pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. All
Oh,
right. So Linda, you're the lucky one. So the two lovely ladies gonna be doing reading on you. Julie's gonna she's gonna start drawing, and she's fascinating. And Theon's
Well,
gonna
I'm
be
just
doing
pulling a card. I'm just
what's
pulling
called
a card.
yeah, okay, it's time consuming. So yes, definitely let's do that. Are you ready, Linda? Just go ahead and type number 2, because for the two ladies, you know, they're so sweet that they're gonna be tuning in and giving you a mini reading. And if you're ready for that, type number 2. So because we want to hear the feedback as well. I mean, if you could, yes. And so we could tune in and get you some special. There you go. Thank you, Linda. So you tune number 2. Open up your heart to receive the energetic reading and even the healing that may come through. Okay. So I always ask you to open up your heart for your highest good. And everyone can do that. So even though it's not your reading, it may be your mirror, maybe something that you can get out of the reading as well, because I believe in that oneness that we just talked about. And so often when you listen to other people's reading, it can also be a mirror.
That's right. And you can get dual meanings.
Exactly.
What's for one is also may also be resonant for another.
For
Um,
all.
yeah. Well, for Linda, I drew a card, and I got the grasshopper spirit card, which is telling Linda to take a leap of faith. So as I connect or attempt to connect with Linda's name, and so hopefully have the right Linda,
Yes.
I'm feeling like maybe there's something that you, Linda, might be a little like reticent of or stepping back from. It's like you really want to do it, but there may be a little bit of fear.
Mhm.
And so whether this has to do with your spiritual development or jumping into your spiritual development or your psychic development, and hopefully some of the things that we said here today doesn't scare you, because it's not meant to scare you. It's just meant to open eyes so that you are aware and that you do things the right way and not the naive way. Then they're just saying, take that leap of faith. If it has to do with a career, a job, or a relationship, whatever it may be, multiple areas in your life, that take that leap of faith. When you take a leap of faith, the universe has a tendency to catch you.
Mhm.
And that is the message I have for you from Spirit.
And that's
Nice.
beautiful. It's funny because I laugh, and I was getting that acknowledgement. She's gonna say the exact same thing. She's gonna, because I kept seeing like this patch, this like white, like bandage over her eyes. Like I don't want to see, and there's the need to sort of shed those that your old way of thinking, and which is very cool that Julie said that, which is not actually uncommon for us too, which is why I always laugh. And but It is. It does feel hard. It does feel like a hard stretch for you, and a leap for you to sort of kind of wrap your brain around it. But it does. It feels very much like there's, it's something that's been ingrained in you, almost taught to you through generations, that you're starting to. So I almost like this wiggling out of that perception. Like you're sort of like little by little seeing more and more why it's necessary for you to sort of embrace what you already know, and that is that you're sort of you know it, and that's why it kind of feels almost painful. For some reason, I'm feeling like it feels almost painful to like there's no way that I can really see myself getting there. That's how I'm seeing it. But not to kind of express what that thing is, but it feels like something that is very present in your head all the time, and it's okay to be different. You were born to be different, and to always challenge your way of thinking. If we don't challenge the way we think, then we are always stuck, and we are always going to be kept in that box. So it is about challenging. I challenge my thoughts every day. I challenge what after I left religion, I still challenge my thoughts and my perceptions, even now, because I don't want to be stagnant. So in order to grow, in order to move forward, you really need to rip off that bandage.
Yeah, nice,
Basically.
nicely said. I do kind of want to add a little bit of stuff that I picked up a little bit. Just kind of piggyback off the two ladies as well. I get a sense of, you're a very, very intuitive person. When it comes, especially when it comes to dreams or come picking up, but you don't trust yourself. And there's a deep sense of fear that I felt too. With what Julie picked up, and also a sense of loneliness that I felt with you. Like you are just different, just what Theon said, and sort of lonely when it comes to even love life. There you go. You just type love life as I'm saying it. That's funny. I didn't see that. I didn't see when she typed. I said love life. I'm looking, and here I look. I saw lonely. That's what I get, lonely. And looking for love. And it's the thing is you have to kind of love yourself first, because I think there's a lack of that. There's a lot of fear of being alone on your path. So definitely work on yourself, Linda, in self-love process, connecting to your higher mind. Yeah. But yeah, the love thing that came to me right away, loneliness that I get too. So yeah, that's something that you're just gonna have to. Don't be fearful of being alone. There's a lot of loneliness that I felt with you. So that's what I got to share with you. Yeah. I don't do private reading for. I haven't done reading for a while. I teach classes right now. So yeah. But anyway, so that's it, guys. Anything else that Julie and Theon would like to share with the audience before we part? Mhm.
No, I mean, we just love for me anyway. Yeah, just always love being on your show there, Tina.
Thank you
and
so much. I
always happy
love
to-
both of you being on here. It's fun. Look, it's up to like an hour and a half already. And it's just like, oh boy, time just zipped by so fast. I couldn't believe it. Well, let's come back again, ladies. I know March I won't be here until 26th, but maybe we could do beginning of April. By then, we can go to Florida to Theon's workshop. Who wants to go to Theon's workshop? Is Julie going to be there, Julie?
Yes,
yeah.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
plan.
If I can go, I'm going to look into that. I want to go because, I know one of my girlfriend's birthdays, she's probably going to want to go to Florida. She wants me to go to Florida with her. But I do want to go to your event. 'Cause I
Oh,
think
well, we are staying on the beach, so you kind of get the best of both worlds too. So
Ooh, who
yeah,
wants to
there's a
go?
lot
You
of
know what? I mean, if anyone wants to go, connect with Theon, please. Connect with Julie, please, because I think I'm going to go there too. We're going to do YouTube live. Can we do that over there?
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be so awesome. Yes. And by the way, Julie is she is going to be a big part of that. So she doesn't know it yet, but
There is a surprise.
oh yeah,
That's
for
funny.
Julie, for Julie.
That
I
is
told her,
so
I told her I'd
funny.
be her helper. So
Yes, yes. So I'm gonna look into it. I know I'm gonna be back from my trip overseas, so I'm gonna try to be there and meet you two in person, actually.
Ugh,
that would be
And also Deb. I met Deborah in person.
yeah.
Way years ago, I think back in 2011 at the Conscious Life Expo. She was there. That's how I met her and knew of her. Yeah, in person, and
Yeah.
she's a great teacher too. So any one of you would like to, connect with Julie and Theon, please do. Either we're Facebook, we're their website. Under the description here, I'll have it there, and also at their workshop in April in Florida by the beach. And we're gonna do ghost hunting, right, or paranormal stuff. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean,
And
Oh,
nobody
so
does
much
this.
fun.
Nobody
Yeah,
offers
a
it.
seance. I
A
know.
seance.
And we're going to be doing remote viewing. I forgot that one. A remote viewing scavenger hunt.
Oh my God, that's gonna be a dream trip, dream
I
vacation.
know.
You know what? I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that definitely. With that said, ladies, let's meet again in beginning of April, and we can actually share information about your workshop as it gets closer to. We can have more information if anyone wants to join this workshop. Definitely, let's go. Let's go. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
And if you want 10% off, you have to book before March 1st.
What is the price
So
right now? If you might, don't mind telling.
it's
Mhm.
it's 555 for
That's a good
555.
price.
Yeah, and then for 10% off, I mean it's amazing. So
No. With this price for the workshop, how many days is the event?
well, so it's Friday to Sunday, but
Okay.
everybody usually that's why I always say the 25th,
Mhm.
because most people come in on that Thursday and stay past the Sunday, because we're going to be going until 4 p.m. that Sunday. So and it's yeah, we've got a lot planned, and I even have another special thing that we're going to be doing, but I can't tell everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about the hotel? We should book the hotel.
Yes, the
Right.
hotel. Yes, and rooms are limited. So of course, I mean it's a hotel. So the discount code is active, but most likely is already selling pretty quickly. So if you can get a room there, that's where we're going to do all of our activities. So
Nice.
definitely. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. It sounds exciting to me. Yeah,
I know,
I
me
love
too.
that.
I know, would love to
I
see
haven't.
you. Oh my
I
gosh.
know, because I haven't come across anyone doing that. That
Yeah.
event that you're doing. So I think that's a great idea that you guys are
Yeah.
doing this. Mhm.
I know. And I was telling Deborah, I was like, we're going to be terrifying other retreats around us. And like, this is so extreme. And that's why I even put in the caption, you'll need another retreat just to recover.
Then you may have another one in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Just to
Yes.
chill.
Actually, I am doing another one in Sedona, but this is,
Oh, Sedona would be
yeah,
awesome.
in June.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, so maybe everybody can recoup in Sedona. So oh my gosh.
Sedona would be that's another trip I want to go to. So that's awesome. Well, ladies, this is amazing talk. I just love that we went from what ETs to the protection to with what's coming in with the scammer girl to your workshop in Florida. That's awesome. Awesome. Love that. So thank you so much, guys, for being here on a talk. again, it was fun, a lot of fun.
A lot
And
of fun.
let's meet again. Yes.
Yes.
Beginning of April, the ladies will come back, and we're gonna have another fun talk, fun discussion about spirit world mediumship, and of course, we're gonna may have some more details about her workshop. And if you guys ready, let's go. We'll go, and we'll meet each other over there. I think that'll be fun. Yes.
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 All right,
Yay. And we
guys.
can intuitively do stuff together. So
Oh,
it'll be
that'll be awesome. So
Yes.
everyone wants to go, check them out, because I think I'm gonna go there too. Anyway, guys, thanks for being here, and thank you everyone, all the audience who are tuning. Really appreciate you, your support. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Theon. You guys have a lovely evening. I know it's getting late over there too, right? Yeah. Well, until then, lots of kisses and hugs. Kiss and hugs to everybody. Bye, bye, guys. Thank you.